Hello guys and welcome to another video. Today I've got some GTA 5 sort of news and information. I've done this about many games before, like these sort of videos where I just go over some features in it. And obviously I think it was inevitable that I was going to make some dedicated to GTA 5. This is probably going to be the game of the year in my opinion. I'm just going to go ahead and say that because I think this game is going to be amazing. And I thought I'd talk about 3 or actually 4 different sort of categories today. So I've got PS4, combat, gangs, and characters, and I'll go into more sort of depth about each sort of thing later on. But obviously I'm really excited for this game, and obviously these are just my opinions. Let me know what you guys think about this game, and in particular these sort of features. I plan on making more, and especially when the game's out, heaps of videos dedicated to GTA 5. But let's go into the first topic, which is PS4, or sort of next gen I should say. So there has been talks that this game might be released for the PS4 sort of after the release for the PS3 and everything else. Obviously they delayed it to September the 17th, which could mean that they were planning or are planning to try and have it on the PS4 at one stage. Or obviously they haven't even announced the PC version yet, so maybe the PC version will come with PS4. Still hasn't been confirmed yet, but if you guys remember, GTA 4, I believe, was delayed quite a lot. So, this might even get another delay for all we know. So, personally, I think if it's on PS4, it will be a better game. Obviously, the capabilities for the PS4 and the new Xbox are going to be much, much better. And they'll be able to do so much more with the next generation of consoles. But I'm guessing they'll release it on the PS3 and the Xbox 360 and the new generation of consoles, as well as the PC. That'd be my ideal sort of outcome. And let me know what console you guys are going to get it on. Anyway, let's move on to the next thing. So the next thing is combat, and there's a lot to talk about here. I don't want to bore you guys and just talk about things that have been confirmed. I thought I'd sort of talk about the newest sort of information I could find about combat. So obviously you may have heard of some of this. Some of it may be familiar, but nonetheless, let's go into it. So the first thing that people were comparing it to, by the sounds of it, is sort of a Max Payne sort of similarity. If you guys played Max Payne 3, that game had a really fun, sort of fast-paced combat system where you were sort of constantly running and gunning, and everything was just really fun in that game to do with combat. It sounds like it's going to be sort of similar to that sort of style in the way that constant running and gunning, and sort of a lot of gore and whatnot. They did confirm that there is sort of a combat jog where you can sort of sprint with your gun, which was in other GTAs. You can also sort of roll into cover just like other GTAs, but I think it's easy to sort of move your way around when you're in cover. I remember in older GTAs you'd feel really quite clunky when you were sort of in cover, and apparently they're going to make this a lot more sort of fluent. Also, apparently the camera will sort of pull back when you're sort of shooting, to give you a sort of wider sort of field of view, I suppose you could say. I'm not sure about first person yet. I'm not sure if you can zoom into first person. I don't think this game really is that sort of game where you should go into first person. I personally prefer and like that sort of third person theme to it. But obviously the camera is really cool the way it sort of zooms back. The way targeting works is pretty much, you can sort of have 2 different sort of ways you can play. So the first way is sort of completely free aim, where you're just shooting around using your mouse or your joystick to sort of aim. Or you can have this sort of lock-on option where it kind of allows players to sort of move their reticle away from enemies automatically, which is selected. That's sort of more for, I suppose, players that aren't too familiar with the sort of combat, I suppose. Maybe a little bit easier as well, by the sounds of it. But players get a real sort of big choice in the way they want to play through the game. Apparently you can really go play stealthy if you wanted to. Personally, I like in GTAs to sort of run around with a gun and blow crap up. That's just how I like to play my GTAs, but if you want to have a more sort of stealthy approach, apparently you can. And needless to say, that you can obviously steal cars, lots of guns and weapons to get to, kill people with. If you're the sort of guy who, I probably shouldn't be saying this, who just likes to, go around the streets killing people, and I, no shame in saying this, I kind of enjoy doing that, then obviously you can do that in this game. It's not all sort of locked. There's so many places to go in this game where you can sort of just kill things if you want to, sort of take out your anger. The way the wanted system works is sort of similar to other GTAs. I don't think they've changed much about it just yet. Basically, once you're out of the area, you sort of lose heat, which is sort of like stars, I suppose. And basically, the higher the star, the more sort of force the police and everything will sort of get into sort of getting you into custody. Sort of similar. We've seen it all before. Not sure about how it's actually going to work, like in sort of the certain stages, because I remember in the old GTAs, like suddenly tanks would come if you start killing enough people, which is pretty crazy. You can also hide to lower heat, so you could maybe steal a car and, you know, people might not notice you. Maybe you can even change characters. Obviously, there's character swapping, which can help you in certain situations. I'll talk about characters a bit later on, but obviously you can sort of plan getaways as well. Maybe if you're robbing a bank or something, you can plan a getaway, you know, planting a car in a zone where you can sort of escape. Lots of cool things you can do with sort of combat. So that's basically for combat, guys. I think the combat is going to make this game really, really fun. So the next thing I thought I'd talk about is gangs. This hasn't been talked about much at all, but I figured I'd talk about it. This is sort of a multiplayer thing. Just like in the older GTAs, you can join gangs, which for me is awesome. I think it really is sort of that typical GTA sort of feeling where you can join gangs and you can work for them and whatnot and get money and stuff like that. But this also works in multiplayer. Obviously, it's like a huge open world where you guys can go around robbing banks and stuff like that. For me, that sounds totally awesome, and I really can't wait for that. So moving on to characters, I know most of you guys probably know a lot about the characters, but I thought I'd briefly go over all three of them and tell you guys a little bit about them. So there's three main protagonists. There's obviously heaps of other characters, but the first one is Michael, and he's pretty much a retired criminal. I'm pretty sure he used to like rob banks and stuff like that. He's pretty rich by the sounds of it. I think he's in his early 40s, I believe. He's got 2 kids and a wife, and I think at some point throughout the game he will join the criminal business with his friend Trevor. His special ability is pretty much bullet time from Max Payne 3. So for me, he sounds like a pretty interesting character, but he doesn't sound too sort of different. He sounds a little bit sort of generic nearly. I know they're all unique, but he sounds like sort of the most sort of plain Jane sort of character. So the next one is Trevor Phillips. He is a bit of a psycho. He's a kind of crazy druggo, a completely abused ex-military pilot. He gets up to pretty horrible stuff. I'm pretty sure he lives in like a trailer in the middle of the desert. He used to rob with his friend Michael, I believe, and I'm pretty sure he's going to start robbing again and join the criminal business again later on with Michael. For me, he sounds like a pretty awesome character. I think I'll be playing him just because he's really psycho, and he just sounds like a lot of fun. His special ability is to sort of go crazy. He gets this adrenaline mode where he does more damage and he just goes mental. And for me, that kind of sounds like a bit of a badass, and I kind of want to play as him. So the last character is Franklin, and he's in his mid-20s, so he's the youngest of all the characters. I think Trevor's sort of in his late 30s, I believe. Not 100% sure about that. But he works for a car dealership, a bit of a sly dog. He sort of rips people off and stuff like that. He's friends with absolutely immature douchebags. Then he meets Michael some point throughout the game, and I think he just joins what Michael and Trevor do, and they sort of get up to mischief, that sort of stuff. Now, the main thing I wanted to talk about in terms of characters is the sort of diversity. I love the fact that you can use all 3 different characters throughout the game, and you can really get to meet all 3 of them and really know what all 3 of them are really all about. You can customize them ever so slightly with like clothing and like hairstyles, but you can't do like RPG customization. You can't like change their face details. You can't make them fatter or like skinnier or taller or anything like that, which I think that's better because, I mean, it would use up a lot of CPU, I believe it's called, on your computer, and I think it's just unnecessary. Doesn't need to be in GTA. There is like sort of skills, I suppose: strength, shooting, stealth, flying, driving, and lung capacity, which I think all 6 of them can be increased. And basically at any point outside of missions, and I think throughout missions as well, you can change your characters, so you can really do cool things. You can say you're in like a cops are chasing you and you're playing as Franklin. You can change to like Trevor, and then you can get Trevor involved. I don't know if the AI will control the other guys while you're kind of using one of the other characters, but I believe if you sort of swap from Michael to Trevor, you might be in the middle of like the desert. So I think this game is going to be amazing. I thought I'd just touch on those 4 topics today. Let me know what you guys think about them. Thanks a lot for watching, and yeah, I'll see you guys later.